Hey guys, woohoo! Welcome to Unloose the Goose. We're excited to be here on a Wednesday, and it's coffee day because we got the two coffee roasters on. So I've got Brian Norton from Food Forest Farms, and then I'm Nicole Sauce from
Hey, Nicole.
Living Free in Tennessee. We had an echo, didn't we, for a second?
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, that was, you know why that happened. Anyway, guys, they don't care. So we're glad to have you here. This is an Ask Us Anything episode. And I don't know about Brian, but I've been roasting coffee all week. Have you been roasting coffee all week?
Standing in front of the roaster. I did my first multi-platform stream 2 days ago. I figured it out. So I broadcasted 3.5 hours of roasting. So
Cool.
If you want to hear an awesome fish show and see some roasting, zip on over.
Do you talk while you do that, or do you just do it?
I put the I kind of show like different beans coming out and talk about what they are occasionally, but it was my very first one and I hadn't been able to hear if you could hear over the top of the roaster me at all.
Yeah.
So we didn't know if I was talking to thin air and looking goofy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now I know if I step up close enough, if I want to say something while the show's going on, I can get over the top of the roaster and you can hear me.
Oh, so, that's cool. I wore a mic, like a wireless mic with my roaster, and you could still, because my roaster is freaking loud, you could totally hear, you could kind of hear me. You couldn't hear me all that great, but is what it is.
That's the first decision. If anyone ever thinks like, I want to be a roaster, you literally have to love standing next to a jet engine, inhaling campfire smoke for 8 hours. If you can dance doing that, be a roaster.
Yeah. Although I have to say, like, I've got my smoke factor way down now.
Yeah, it's, yeah.
I'm when the beans come out, I get a face
industrial.
You got to get you one of those. They're great. Okay, well, anyway, this is Unloose the Goose, not the coffee roasting hour. Although, Brian, we need to schedule a roundtable discussion about how to become a coffee roaster because we've got a bunch of people interested. So we'll be organizing that after the new year because Brian and I need to respond responsibly to all of our Christmas orders between now and then, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You want to do a couple of shows or a one-time deal or a couple of shows or?
Yeah, I mean, we'll get people on and answer their questions. I've got a list of questions and a bunch of people interested who want to become roasters and they don't know, and they anything from how much the beans lose weight to whatever. So I think
one show and then maybe a schedule of follow-up after everybody thinks.
Exactly.
Okay, onward.
Then people can decide. So I don't know what's up with Float, guys. I was supposed to be streaming on Float and it's giving me a stream offline warning. So that's weird. If you're on Float and can see us, just shoot me a comment in the comments.
Let's see. Patricia just said hi, everybody, on YouTube, so I know we're out there.
YouTube's going? Yeah. Stream offline on Float.
He said hi. So, yeah, so Float could be... Okay, all right. We'll figure that out.
Well, I mean, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I've been trying to give love to our Float channel just because they're getting ready to launch a bunch of stuff. But what this means sometimes is Float goes kind of bloop and up and down, and it's been a little strange. But it is definitely saying stream offline.
They did say there was 3,000 new users added last week alone.
3,000 new users. So that might be our issue. I will ask somebody on Float to just post and tag me that we are live over on YouTube and it is working there. So that is what it is. Okay, so let's jump into the show. First of all, what are you drinking?
I am drinking a let's see, what is this? Guatemalan medium dark.
Drinking Hollow Roast Dark right here in my Calamity Ware mug that was sent to me by a friend.
Yeah, winter seems to be like darker coffees, you know. Summertime, I'll go a lot lighter.
Yeah, that's just, I like my dark coffees a lot. Light coffees kind of make my tummy hurt. That's just me though.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, Newsbuster, I thought we needed to talk about Omicron today, or however you say that.
What's that called? Media. What's it short for? Delta Micron or something? Media control.
Delta Micron. Yeah, exactly. I don't know what's up, but like, okay, so there's a new variety of panic. And we've shut down travel from places from South Africa to here and all sorts of stuff. And then you watch, like, have you read any news articles about this?
The only thing I've heard is like people talking statistically about it being less deadly, more virulent, means it spread. It's doing what a virus should do, as far as I know, right? Getting less deadly and spreading more easily, so it replicates and because it wants to grow.
Yeah, exactly. So here's the deal. It's hilarious to me that the articles will say like milder symptoms, don't use your smell, nobody's died of it. And then the media says, comma, but this means it'll mutate more, which is bad.
Yeah, that's mutations are usually to make it less deadly, more spreadable.
Yeah.
It's what it wants.
It's the natural advent of the whole thing. Like, this is good news. People are getting less sick. They're having but there are pockets of vulnerable people who may get this who didn't before because it's more virulent. Like, that's what they're saying. They're like scrambling to turn it into bad news.
You gotta hide economic collapse by any means necessary.
Yes.
The big news I saw last week was the Russians have now stopped pricing any of their arms deals when they are announced globally in US dollars. So they have de-dollarized their
de-dollarized? Is that a word? De-dollarized is a word.
Yeah, the world uses the dollar unit of measure. So they've stopped using it to measure things.
Awesome. Okay, well, to me, I don't understand why the narrative hasn't crumbled yet. Like, I am a very optimistic person, and I feel like not everybody in the world's stupid, but people are canceling gatherings and freaking out and doubling down on regulatory environments over a variant that appears to be less deadly.
When your livelihood depends on you being in denial, facts don't matter. That's it. The people that can read math and do basic logic.
Yeah.
And the rest, that's why I don't hang around addicts anymore. I can't tolerate watching the just insanity. Facts are facts, numbers are numbers, dead bodies are dead bodies, live ones are live ones. I mean, it's 1 or 0. It's maddening at this point.
Yep. Gary says nature is gonna nature.
Yeah, I don't know how I did it, but they're just kind of coming on as they come on. So anyway, that's yeah. So if you got questions, throw them in all caps, and then as they're streaming by, we'll see the questions, and then we can roll.
Yeah. So Brian, the reason Brian said that, guys, is that he was wondering how to get comments on, and what he doesn't know is I'm putting them on by clicking on the comment.
I thought I had automated a process.
No. I just thought that was a good one. Okay, so we put out at the beginning of the week, if you have a question, send it to us, and I got submissions via email and from the website unloosthegoose.com, and the first one comes from Ran. Says, hi, friends. I have a small homestead in Victoria in the south of Australia. Currently, I'm not allowed to buy food in the supermarket, take public transport, or even go to the library to borrow books for my kids. The local paper even put out an advisory yesterday that it was illegal to wave at your friends from the car. Illegal to wave at your friends from the car. Can any of the geese comment on how the various structures that you run, food churches, private member clubs, function in such a repressive framework? Brian, you get to go first because I read it.
First, define a wave.
Define wave. Is this a wave? Is this a wave?
Yeah, I'll get creative, especially if I'm waving at those government officials.
Yeah. He's totally talking about the single finger wave, right?
Fuck, it might be more than a finger. I completely fucking ignore them. I don't know what else to say. Every single person needs to just, if it's absolutely insane shit they're asking you to do, And the time to start growing food was not yesterday, but hopefully this is a good example of you know, those camps that aren't gonna built here.
Yeah.
And you know, yeah, I mean, it's yeah, at some point they're gonna stand up, right? Or how many are gonna starve to death before they stand up? I mean, shit, Stalin got 60 million. I don't know. I'm gonna bet they're going for a bigger bag total this time. So you want to be the first 10 million or the last 10 million is the only question.
Yikes. I would say if you're talking about membership organizations and private communities, the challenge you're going to have in Australia, and the thing I can't speak to because I don't know there, is when you set up a private community that allows people to just people, and you have a gate that people have to get through to see what's going on, does the government structure around you respect the gate?
Right. Or will they just throw a drone up and
or will they right, are they just going to bust through it? I don't know in your country, and only you can know that, and then look at those structures. In the United States, it doesn't always work that officials stay out of a private location without a search warrant, right? But most of the time they do. And if you know, Holler Homestead has a perimeter fence and a gate, what are they going to do? If they get a warrant, they can bust down my gate. But how are they even going to know that anything untoward is going on inside that gate to begin with, right? So maybe if you want to figure out how to have an enclosed community, then don't talk about it a lot. And if you're able to grow your food and support each other inside that community, nobody's going to know if you waved from the car or if you have a mask. However, that severely limits your ability to interact with people. And then Brian's comment, just go do what you want, right, could result in fines, arrests, all those other things. I'm talking to people in Canada who stores are getting $1,100 fines for not mask. Like, she knows a business owner who was in the back of their store, not in the front of their store, family-owned business, family only, masks off, $1,100 fine. That stuff's going to happen. And then what happens when you push it to the next step and don't pay the fine? And then do they have the heart to put you in jail for that? That answer is different everywhere. When things become more repressive, though, and I talked about this at Jack's, your underground network is what supports you. So that's where the people you can trust, I think, that's where you really tap into that network of people we've been building. I have a lot of sympathy for those of you in places right now that are shutting down hard and doubling down and, you know, putting unvaccinated in, you know, quarantines, towns and all of that, because that's just the one step closer to us versus them and violence. And this is part of our human condition.
It's funny because
we are manipulatable this way.
Living behind the wire in occupied territory out here in Seattle.
Yeah.
You know, it's the government officials that are on the mandate thing, and everybody that works for and with them. Then you have everybody that's working for a thing or a company that makes a thing that's everybody's in demand, right? Because everybody needs food and stuff shipped out of here. So
he was
the
about
worker
to have
people are getting whipped to work harder more, right? But scary more. But it's like everybody's walking around like zombies.
Yeah,
it's just zombie land.
Yeah, I haven't spent any time behind the Iron Curtain in the U.S. where you live.
It's
since September of 2021.
It looks to me like walking around a prison, and I'm like, we're probably the half step to her. Like, right?
Yeah.
You're in kind of Texas, Florida, F-Offistan.
Yeah.
You don't realize most days what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm halfway just because I've never cared. Well, for a couple of decades. So, you know, it impacts me less, but still the people around and all the stuff going on. So it's, I don't, you know, non-compliance. I mean, you know who's not going to comply.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Lots Project, underground networks. Okay, that's perfect. I
think they're making fun of me because all I'm going to be talking about for the next year, I'm pretty sure, are underground networks. It's going to be my thing.
He listened to your presentation from Jax, and they already had their project going, and then I encouraged him to think 3-dimensionally. So the question from Australia was about underground net or
using different legal structures. So do I know legal structures in Australia? No.
Not legal structures, but even physical structures. So Brian and Corey are working on the Lots Project to connect landowners like me, maybe like you, that we would allow freedom warriors that are zero impact humans to come stay with us, rotating around the country, improving our property when they stay, not making it worse, making almost no impact, being self-sufficient, not needing any toilets, any electricity,
just showing up kind of like
being certified
hip camp for underground networks and freedom people, right?
Hip camp for non-purple breathers. You know you're going to land in a safe spot. He's saying that they're on the road all the time, like cruising around the BLM land and such, on all the state land. So many people have unhitched from their houses and started to travel to look for freedom. Everywhere's full. You get there and now you're with the general public that doesn't have any ethic for land care or people care or anything care. So holy crap, the Wild West. So their kind of idea, he'll be on next week to talk to Jack, and I think Sal is a 3-dimensional model where you know people all over in different groups that know people in different groups. Different landowners want different projects done. Different boondockers probably have different skill sets. So just some way to get them all interconnected and traded and trading, which I think his vision includes like where landowners have reciprocity to do bug outs, right? So now I don't have to freak out about setting up a bug out location. I've got maybe 500 bug out.
You've got a bug out network.
So it's all kind of coming together with the people that were doing the land buying at Jack's, right? Helping other people go buy that piece of land at a good steal. Now, if they know immediately they have boondockers who want to go stay at their land and not harm it, but maybe improve it. They'll pay their property taxes. Now, why wouldn't you buy that land at a deal?
Right.
So it's all the pieces are starting to come together. So if you're out there, the Lots Project, hook up with that. Oh, there's another question. Let's see.
Let's get Carrie's question. So
what do we got?
It's for you, Brian. As the side hustle ideas keep coming, do you balance as you go, or do you have to take a considerable discipline? I'm a freewheeler, but I'd like to hear your thoughts. So basically, when you have all these ideas, what do you do to keep from losing your mind?
All the side hustle stuff. I like to try them all, just to see what's up with like how easy it really is, what it really pays. I love gaming systems, so with the new independent contractor laws in California, basically, if you're out there hustling on the food platforms right now, all the shit on your screen basically says, take every order, F that. They made it look scary to not. They can't penalize you in any way. So don't let platforms abuse you if you're going to use them. Make sure it's profitable for you. Remember, it's a peer-to-peer. You're not an employee. So if it's not a great deal, don't do it. But on the other hand, I drove Uber for a while just so I could meet humans, hand them coffee samples live and in person with my business card, because then they knew the
coffee guy. Coffee.
Yeah. So they paid me to advertise to them. So discipline. I want to learn things too. I got the shed job so I could learn to frame and so I could pay for air tools. It's, if you don't have a $500 flatbed trailer out there, you should go get one. That thing has made me so much stupid money. You can haul stuff. You can do, demolition. The guys that are waiting to do construction right now can't find anybody to do their demos. I mean, you got to rip shit down,
Really?
take it to the
That's
dump.
like Nighthawk's favorite part of the job.
Oh, I've decided my my little shed helper builder sign, I'm duct taping over all the shit that involves building, and it's just gonna say demo and hauling. It pays great. People hate it. But if you know how to build stuff, you're a much better demoer because you know what not to break because they're gonna have to build back.
Yeah.
So charge appropriately for your skills.
Basil. We're going to talk about basil next. So this one, there's a lot of detail on this. Any tips for growing basil?
Not me.
Mine grew fine for a while before turning yellow and wilting, and it's grown indoors, probably hydroponically. You don't have any hydroponic growing tips about turning yellow and wilting? Doesn't have to be basil. Just saying.
Humidity. I would probably increase airflow. If you don't have fans on your stuff that are pretty much nonstop, and the fans that like tilt back and forth, those are better because you get stalk stress, which will make stalks grow more, which will pull more nutrients up.
Yeah, so there's a couple other good.
Oh, fucking spider mites!
Check for spider mites.
I have a secret recipe of all time. You want me to give that out?
Yeah, do it. The secret recipe of all time for spider mites.
Yeah, in all pests in general, if you start gardening indoors, well, if you monocrop something a lot, you're going to get spider mites. So first thing, put down those little hand sprayers. If you're growing like anything real, go get yourself a mister, like a half horsepower Hudson fogger. They're called foggers for a reason. So basically the bugs are so small and all the plants have little hairs. When you're spraying them with droplet sprayers, the spray ends up on the top of the hairs. The bugs are hanging out down by the follicles. If you zoom in with a microscope on the plant edge, so you're spraying all this crap on your plant, it's not touching the bugs because they're underneath it. So for one, until you get a fogger, you're not actually touching the bug with the stuff you think you're spraying.
Yeah.
That's why you have to spray toxic death juice, so it just kills everything in the vicinity like a hand grenade. So my recipe doesn't work if you're spraying stupid sprayers. So go get a fogger and spray from the bottom to the top, because the bugs 99% of the time live under the bottom sides of the leaves. So if you spray top down, you're still not getting them wet. It's about getting the stuff on them. Okay, so in a 2-gallon fogger, throw in some Dr. Bronner's peppermint soap. You need to make your water wetter. It needs to be slippery so it can get past the hairs and actually get on the bugs. So maybe like a teaspoon. About a teaspoon of Dr. Bronner's. Peppermint's great because they hate peppermint residual smell. It doesn't hurt any plants. And then, so then you need to burn their exoskeletons off. So the stuff that's in like anti-fuego, I think, is orange oil.
Orange oil. Yep.
Okay, so I have orange oil and lemon oil. I put one of them in. It doesn't matter. Rotate is better, right, for your plant, because you're giving it terpenes of a different flavor. So 40 drops, orange or lemon oil, doesn't matter. And then the next category down is kind of like antibacterial, antimicrobial. So then I do like either rosemary or oregano oil. Doesn't matter. One of them. Flip them with the other two so that your recipe is always changing. So 40 drops of that, spray them. You can't survive having your skeleton melted. There's no like next generation of bug that
needs to be a t-shirt. You can't survive having your skeleton melted.
It's the truth. So attack them directly. And then the other thing to know with spider mites is their reproduction cycle. It's like a hockey stick graph with temp. So at between 70 and 80 degrees, they'll grow like 10 times more. Like 85, it's like 100 times more. Like 89 is like 1,000 times more. And they reproduce every 72 hours. So you got to nail them like every 2 days. So as the new ones are born, you're killing them before they have a chance to reproduce. So you got to hit them every 2 days for like a week, then hit them like once a week.
Yeah, that's kind of like getting rid of fruit flies requires having anything a fruit fly can eat out of your house every single day, once a day, for at least overnight. And then you need to do that for like a whole week, even though they reproduce every 48 hours, I think it
So
is.
the beautiful thing with that recipe is everything in it you can eat, you can ingest. It won't harm anything. And if I just saved a very expensive crop, you can tip me on float directly.
That's a good one. Okay, so back to the basil roots and turning yellow. If you are doing Kratky hydroponics in your house with lights, and it's basil, so that plant will live for a really long time. At some point, you need to do water changes, like complete water changes, because salts can build up in the water. And I have noticed with some of my longer systems, I need to change the water about every month or two, well, probably more like 2 months. And I just water my other plants outside with it. I don't do anything crazy. It's just those roots are sitting there. And the way I make that decision is when they're not beautiful white roots and they're starting to get funny colors, I think of a water change. The other thing that can happen is algae in the water. And I got my formula of 2 caps of hydrogen peroxide per gallon of water from you.
Yep. Because you gotta keep algae out. That's what some of that Kratky stuff with light sitting there getting in. Wrap with tinfoil or something.
I totally do
roots
that.
Hate light. UV, actually, like airbags, right? Like the bags that are burlap. Plants that grow in those think they're in the actual earth, because as their little micro roots hit the edge of the burlap and are going out, the sun prunes them off. You're just on them. So they think they are infinitely growing. They think they're in the earth. So yeah. Sunlight, no good for roots.
Sunlight, not good for roots. And what I do, I have trays, because I do indoor lettuce. I have trays with lots of holes drilled in them. I'll put tinfoil over that and then just punch holes for the plants in the, whatever spacing I want. And then I don't have open holes letting light in for my rafting system, basically. That's just just because I'm cheap and don't want to redo my rafts.
No. Yeah, I use the same. Recycled styrofoam. Anything you find that floats, cooler tops. Driving around, there's all kinds of hydro stuff. Don't buy anything.
Okay, the next one comes from John. This is our first year gardening after moving to Florida. We had some success, but problems with ants. They got almost all my peanuts and grubs. They were ugly and eat lots of stuff. So I believe the question that was never asked is, what do I do about ants and grubs outside?
We don't have that many ants up here. Our ants are water ants.
They have fire ants down there. I
do the old like borax and sugar and like put them where dogs can't get them.
Yeah. I have fire ants. I didn't realize I had fire ants on my property, and I have the whole time. I thought I didn't have them because I've never stepped in a nest and gotten stung. I've stepped in a nest and they crawl on me. And I guess stung is, I thought they were just biting me. So that same anti-fuego with the orange oil will kill the nest. But I will say this, what I've had problems with ants in my garden get into are figs and okra. And any other time the ants have been around, but they haven't messed with anything. And so I was like, whatever. If you're not messing with me, I won't mess with you.
That's where my ant problem is. It's by the fig tree. Interesting. Must be such high bricks, right? That they can smell.
Yeah, no, figs are like crack to ants.
Yeah, and rats and everything. Everything that moves.
Yeah, get the anti-fuego, and it's an orange oil based thing. You mix it with water, you pour the water, you like chop off the top of the anthill and pour the water in, and that helps deal with them. And then if you're growing anywhere, you're going to lose things to pests outdoors. It's a thing. It happens. You'll get diseases too. And if you grow a lot of variety and a lot of stuff, you're less worried about the one thing you lose or the couple of things you lose.
Okay, so for a giant anthill, couldn't you get a steel funnel and stick it on it and dump like 5 gallons of boiling water down it at once?
You could, but the orange oil melts their exoskeleton, as you mentioned.
Oh, so boiling water with orange oil, right?
Yeah. That'll give them a bad day. Yeah, that'll definitely give them a bad day.
That's the it's the getting closer to the tropics, you got more pests, right? It's living up here, we have less, but less sunshine. It's 50-50.
And now
Find
for
an
something
entry point.
completely different, Brian. You've explained this to me before, but I still am not sure how to find an entry point into it. What is fan-controlled football from Mark?
Okay. The bigger thing, well, that too. There's an app called Republic Investing. It's a decentralized investing app, so you can buy small pieces of projects, like a thousandth of a condo project in Miami or whatever, and just scroll. The rates of return are insane. Do your own whatever. I'm not a financial expert. I'm an alien wearing tie-dye hippie. Scroll it. So there's this whole new football league, because it's not like baseball that is congressionally protected with the protectorate, right? So you can start a competing football league. So the kids from Twitch, the gaming community, got together with the crypto community, that got together with the people that love football but don't want to see pussified football. I mean, we paid to see gladiators kill each. I want to see football. So the group got together. They got 4 teams. Each team has a NFL star, like a music star, and something. They're all like headed by somebody. But anyways, four teams started last spring. There's an app. So everybody go look for Fan Controlled Football, FCF. You'll find it in the App Store. Download it. Pick a team. Doesn't matter. They just expanded to 8 now. They doubled. So they did 9 games last year. They rented a whole stadium and ran the whole league in one place, right? Because think of the expense of moving all your people around the country. What if every team came to one place, played the entire season in 9 straight weeks, and then went home for a year? Could you do it for like 100th the money? So they threw all the rules of football out. It is literally fan controlled, like literally. By week 2, there was a bullshit call. And as the owners of the league, us, we decided it was like 51-49, whether we were going to fire all the refs on the spot and make every call through our phones on the app. Just outworked by refs. So they begged for their jobs and that they would officiate better and let the game be played, because they're used to seeing NFL games. This is internet controlling humans with your phone game. We want to see football. So the refs kept their jobs barely. We kept control of all the actual real calls. So now you've got 3 million people voting whether his foot was on the line or not. And if you are a team owner of the team involved, your vote's downregulated. And the people who are really good at making calls, the AI grades every single thing you do interacting with this app. So it decides how good a play caller you are and juices your percentage of the play call up. So as every play ends, you have 5 seconds to decide whether you're going to run a pass or a run the next set with these real live humans. And the AI tells you, here's your percentage of a first down, here's your percentage of a touchdown if you run this or that. So your controlling owner group decides for your team on the spot, run or pass. Then the AI picks the next 6 plays. Like if you choose pass, it throws you 6 passing plays. These are the best plays for the exact predicament you're in, and here's all the percentages of scoring with the personnel you have on the field. So you have like 5 more seconds to pick a play. So now as an owner and a controller of the team, you know what play is going to come out when the ball gets hiked. It's a whole other level of watching a game, because you just told them what to do. They're going to run it, or they're humans, right? Maybe he doesn't run it. And if he doesn't run it, he didn't run the play you told him. You're the coach. Did it go well or not well? Every player every week is up for draft. There's a draft every Wednesday. There aren't teams like you would think of as a team. They are humans that are in a pool of labor that we build a team every week as owners and play against each other. And the AI helps us. So it's getting closer and closer and closer. And okay, so within 9 weeks, they got Betting King or Bet King or whatever the hell that is. I don't sports bet. but they came on board. Target came on board. PepsiCo came on board. Wendy's came on board. They were supposed to have the second season this fall. They had to push it back because NBC and Peacock are getting involved in a big way to lock it up. So they're pushed it back to March. So as the Super Bowl ends, they're going to start season 2 with 8 teams. So I'm pitching it to Float to send me down there, and let's just kill this thing with a Float channel and get press credentials and get in the box, and we'll run a show. So anyway, if you had a chance to buy 1,000th of the entire National Football League the day it started, what would you pay for that?
I don't know, $500.
I paid $198.
Not bad.
Yeah. We'll see in 20 years, won't we?
Yeah.
NFL's worth like $1 trillion.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So you missed round 2. You can't invest in that. That already went and gone. So get the Republic app. Pay attention. Yeah. The next time they do an expansion, it's still the bottom of the wave. It's going to kill the NFL. It's actual, real, live fun. Like, they don't have you get fined if you dance after you get a touchdown. They actually built a studio so they can go do choreographed acts. And it plays their like charities on the website beneath them as they're dancing around. It's what the fans want to see. So we built it better. Yes.
That's awesome. Okay, I got a question for you, Brian. You're going to like this one. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, hold on. I need a bong toke.
You totally do. Yeah, do it right now, because you can do it while I'm asking you the question. So this is an important coffee question. It relates to coffee and mold. How do I ensure there is no mold in the coffee beans I buy? Do I need to buy the bulletproof beans or whoever's doing that? Or is there another way to tell if there is mold in my coffee?
Oh my God. There's mold in everything. You are mold.
You are mold. Okay.
Yeah. Are you a commercial roaster? Do you have a mold sensitivity? Food labs. There's one in Oregon. You can send a gram of anything to. They'll run tests for you, send it back, costs $50. So it depends why you want to know, and what you're willing to pay to find out. And you can tell moldy coffee. You can just see it. You can smell it. I know if I've experienced one bag so far, like, that has come to me that I was like, nope, can't do it. But there's stuff to do with moldy coffee. Roast it and compost it.
I researched this issue for a while, because what's happening is there's a coffee brand saying that there's mold and bad stuff and pathogens in coffee. We test every batch by our coffee, and that's their differentiator.
That's like the
and good for them. I think it's brilliant
mantra, and they just sell shit.
Yeah. So then I started researching what molds are in coffee, and I found out what molds are in coffee. And I don't remember what they're all called, but there are like 3 particular that are there even in the not moldy coffee in small amounts. And when you test most coffee from direct farm sources, from high quality, organically grown, and then imported in a way that is responsible and stored in a way that's responsible.
Right.
When it's bought from farms that get a little bit more money per pound, because who are then able to process the coffee responsibly, the mold levels are like so low that it doesn't even really, it's like 5 parts per million or something, or whatever. It's super low. And
the difference between specialty coffee and commercial coffee.
Yeah, it's totally different than something that sat around for 2 years in a warehouse.
And
the roasting process, it burns some out if there's some in there, but mostly it doesn't really change what was there. What was there is there. Unless it was on the chaff and blew out, it's what's there is there. And then from there, if it's put in a bag and sealed, it's, because when you roast coffee, it dries. It's dry.
And
I mean, it's dry to
oxygen.
begin with, but it dries, right? And
Yep.
you put it in an oxygen-free bag,
Environment.
it's not going to be growing mold. If you pour a bunch of tea on it or water on it and put it wet in a bag, which you wouldn't ever do, but if you do that, then it will grow mold. So I decided it's not worth it for my brand to test every bag of coffee I get in. Because by that time, I'm going to be charging y'all $60 a pound to $100 a pound for the coffee. But I asked you that question because I get that question all the time. And if it's really that important, then either pay for your own testing or buy the coffee from the brand that is doing testing on everything. If you trust that they're doing testing on everything, which I have no reason to doubt that they are, honestly.
Okay, so what should you really be concerned about coffee?
That's the real answer. I knew you'd go there.
Oh God. So if you're drinking decaf and it's not Swiss water, like that's the first thing, like knock it off.
Yeah.
That shit is all sent to Germany. It's in pools of methyl chloride for days.
Like, that's how they get the caffeine out.
So if you're decaf and it's not Swiss water, it's wrong.
Yeah.
Swiss water, debatable about how perfect the coffee taste is after it's done, but whatever.
Well, it's, decaf.
2, stop drinking drum roasted coffee. I don't care who you buy from. Anybody. Get shit that's not drum roasted. It's in the 1500s, they figured out how to roast coffee beans on hot metal and they burn the shit out of them. In the 2000s, they still do it. It's just a round drum instead of a flat plate. It's all computerized, but it's physics. It's a soccer ball that you're torching with plate steel. You're frying a rock to try to cook the rock center to the outside temperature of the frying pan. It's physics. So once it burns hard enough, you can't burn it much more because char is pretty insulative. It's thermic. So if you bring the whole bean up to the right temperature evenly, there is no char. Even on a dark bean, even in your roasts that are really dark.
Yeah, there's no char.
So if you're on a drum roasted coffee and you burn 1% of a soccer ball sphere, the outside, that's 10% of the mass. Well, 9 point blah blah something. So 10% of the shit in your coffee basket or in your French press can't make coffee. It can only make acid water to destroy your stomach. That's all it can do. So it's hurting if you bought good coffee from a drum roaster. It's hurting the taste of the good coffee and burning your stomach. So that same exact coffee at that same exact level of roast from an air roaster that cooks on a bed of air using new technology to bring the bean up consistently is way better for your health. In the thing that is bad about coffee, you can eliminate by just making a choice: drink air roasted coffee. Now, if coffee to you is the taste of charcoal, can't help that. You
can actually air roast it long enough to add a charcoal overtone
flavor.
You can roast it so long that it is charcoal. Ask me how I know. And then you really got to clean your roaster.
So let's see that. And so when you get that far, if you've gone to air roasted, you've eliminated acids. Now the next thing is hydrogen sulfide. If you heat the coffee with anything burning, you're cooking in an exhaust gas pipe. So
like propane.
Yeah, propane, natural gas, wood fire. There's some roasters on barbecue. So all that stuff. Any heat source that burns a thing, if you're cooking over it, you're cooking in the exhaust gas stream. Coffee is super porous, micropores. It sucks in everything. That's why coffee tastes like onion if you leave it in your fridge for a day. So it's sucking up all the exhaust gas that's blowing by. So it's sucking in all the hydrogen sulfide it can possibly suck in. If you're on heart meds and a heart patient, they tell you, like, do not drink fresh roasted coffee. It's off the chart in hydrogen sulfide. It off gases, hopefully. So if you're worried about health benefits in coffee, there you go. Hey, boom, the pharmacist.
Neathy the pharmacist has joined the live stream today.
We were calling you in.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm so sorry I'm late, guys. I had some bad news.
There is no late. There's only now.
I'm sorry about your bad news.
Yeah.
Do we need to talk about it on the show, or do you just want to put it behind you?
I can't just drop it, but I will. The show must go on. The show must go on. I'm here to be with some friends. I'll just say this. One of our members, I just found out that their nephew passed away, and I didn't hear about it. And I was just like, "Hey, how's everybody going? Doing?" And blah, blah, blah. And they were like, "It's gonna be Christmas. It sucks." And I'm just like, and then they told me, and I was like, "How do I not know this?" Like, it was awful.
Well, Neathy, we're doing an Ask Us Anything show, and you missed all the COVID lockdown stuff, and apparently we're talking about coffee right now, but I'm sure anybody in the audience, if you have questions for us, put it in all caps. Right now we have Tactical Redneck saying, speaking of French press, how do you clean it? Well, I can tell you what I do, but you probably already know that because you live on my property. Let's let, like, Neathy, how do you clean your French press?
I put it in the dishwasher. It works. I mean, I open it up and I stick it in the dishwasher. Am I not supposed to do that?
No, mine's never not making coffee long enough.
You're so funny. Yeah, well, we only have it in the morning, and so now the kids are making espresso these days. So
yeah.
Yeah, my seat just shrank.
Okay. So if you have problems with buildup on your French press, which a friend of mine who buys my coffee reached out to me quietly one day and said, "Hey, Nicole, after a couple of pots of coffee, my coffee starts kind of having this ash overtone." And I was like, "What?"
Well, because
the whole point of
because it's fresh.
But it's like the whole point of the air roasting is not to have an ash overtone, right? We just talked about this.
It has oil because it's fresh.
People do not wash they don't wash their French.
So then I find out, I'm like, "How are you washing?" He's like, "Well, I take it apart, rinse it, no soap, just rinse it, and then remakes it." What we figured out is residual oils are sitting on the French press and they're developing this like ashy, bitter flavor. And once that was taken care of, it kind of took care of it for that.
Don't think it rinse it. I always feel like it's oily when I'm cleaning it. And so I feel like it gets rancid. So
that was our
I would
trick
totally
when we would go see high-end chefs.
I take the filters apart and everything.
The kitchen was perfect, right? And they would say, I'm like, "Yeah, and your coffee's perfect, right?" And then we would go over to their brewer, yank the brew basket out, and like stick a piece of paper towel up by the actual brew head.
Yeah.
Wipe all the scum off there.
Ugh.
You're like, "Okay, this is why your coffee tastes like ass, even though you're buying good beans."
That's like those people that that's the people who don't wash their water bottles, right? It's those same people.
Well, you can't see it because it's up underneath. So unless
you got to get up in there. Like my espresso maker that I have, Anithi's seen it. It's like a super ultra automated thing. You do got to stick a paper towel up there and get it all cleaned out. It's the same thing because you'll get residue on that over time.
Okay, Mike, I could tell anyone in the world that they were. It was hilarious. You sit down. I bet your friend was in the Navy.
Tell me what that question is, because the audio people
why
won't
does my friend put salt in his blue can coffee when he is brewing? Because remember the story about the beans frying on the frying pan, making charcoal, not making coffee? He's making so much acid in his alleged coffee pot that he's making acid water. So the salt counteracts the acids and makes it neutral to not destroy his stomach.
Neathy, this is a new one for your coffee. For your people, if they have to make acidic coffee, apparently you add salt to cut the acid.
Yeah, because it's a base. That's smart.
Yeah.
That's
so
smart.
If you're drinking drum roasted coffee, you know it's acidic because of how it was roasted. So it's gonna mess.
Well, that's what I just learned. I just learned that from Nicole, and so this is fun. I'm sorry I missed the beginning of y'all's talk about that.
That's okay. You can go back. Okay, so this is a question about bongs. because it's Ask Us Anything tonight. So
what
AutoFab
strain is
wants to
it?
know.
It
Let's
is.
back up before we go to this. So, why are you allowed to be pulling on a bong on a video when pot's illegal?
Are you asking us?
No, I'm asking Brian.
Oh, me? I don't ask permission.
Wait, but is pot legal in your state?
Yeah, it's legal in my state.
It's legal in the state. So okay, so then what kind of bong is that? Is what AutoFab Welding wants to know. It's legal where he is.
He wants to know what strain it is.
What strain's in it? Oh, what strain's in it?
What strain is in it?
That's my Brian's Blend 2021. It's a Blue Dream plant that I crossed with. What the hell did we cross that with? Gorilla Glue number 4. It's awesome.
Okay.
Super orange hair. Really.
Thoughts on insurance for your events? So anybody who does events, which is all 3 of us, what do you think about insurance for your events? Let me go first on this one.
Okay, yeah.
I have everybody sign. I have everybody sign a waiver that does an event on site, and I do not get event insurance. Next year, I will have event insurance for a reason. And having an umbrella policy is also a really helpful thing. It really depends on your event and where it is, because if you're renting a venue, often that's included. In our network, we are not a litigious network, so that's helpful. But when you get to a certain size, it is important to think about it. So I say go price it out and do your cost benefit analysis. My choir did a fundraiser 2 years ago, and for the first time in the history of the organization, bought event insurance, and one of the participants accidentally backed into the car of the owner and messed up the bumper of their car. And that ended up being paid for by our event insurance. And if it hadn't been, we were going to be held liable for it. So liable,
the car
not
insurance
liable.
thing would have had to do its thing.
Well, it was a hit and run.
Yeah.
It was hit and run. Yeah.
We are Squatch this spring, Squatch 22, April 14th to 17th, full moon on Saturday night, the 16th. Come out, thesquatchfest.com. Anyway, I was going to say, so Patricia, who's right down there, said she could do an hour for us on insurance. Her dad is a jazz musician who got tired of not being able to play venues because they said they need, we need insurance. So he became an insurance broker. We are gonna. We found our insurance person that does events specifically. And we're going to definitely do that this year. We didn't in the past. It was pretty small. It was pretty startup. Tickets were informal. But actually we're charging actual admission this year. So since we're charging actual admission, running it through the company as a real thing, it should, we're going to do it. And also if anybody, 15 Hands Tough, that's Patricia. She's a crackerjack attorney, but her specialty is fighting arbitration, keeping everything from
arbitration is way more powerful than working with an attorney.
I need to schedule a call with Patricia about my insurance next year.
Her job is to keep you out of ever having to get to court by making it just not an option. So if you come to your event, your option is will never end up in a court. By being there, you've accepted that you won't end up in a court.
So you've agreed to.
Yeah. So I don't have that's the whole thing with my event thing. I am great at making light shows and doing fun stuff, but so guess who's on my team now in arbitration?
I want to get in touch with her. 15 Hands Tough.
Yeah. Okay, Miran asks a question, and I believe this is related to the question we were asking from the same person earlier. Can you please speak to how you settled on a food church as a legal structure? Because they're looking at what they can do in Australia, and the typo you see is not from Miran. That's Nicole did not copy and paste from Odyssey very well.
Okay.
Also, guys, I'm disappearing at 5 p.m. and you're going to keep going, and Brian will wrap the show whenever you wrap the show.
Okay, gotcha. So the reason that I settled on a food church was because amongst all the other things that I was I was dealing with problems with meat handling was one part of it. But more than that, I was being threatened all the time for what I was talking about, which is using meat to heal. And so, folks were like, "Are you a nutritionist? Are you a licensed dietitian? Blah, blah, blah. Like, how do you have the right to speak on this?" I was making claims. Supposedly, they said that I was a self-proclaimed governing body and all kinds of other things that I was accused of. And so, yes, I'm a self-proclaimed governing body. This is my food church, and I am the high priestess of the pasture. And if you come before me, then you have chosen to hear me speak. And so, as a leader in my food church, I am boldly leading on the leading edge. And so that is why I call it the food church, because what I learned is that with religious exemption or under religious exemption, I have the freedom to speak to whomever it is that wants to participate in my church, which is, for food freedom for health independence. It's based around food freedom for health independence. And so that was actually what led me to do that. Now I've been in trouble with religious people who want to know, what kind of religion I'm trying to convert them to. I've been, shunned by the atheists because they don't want to have anything to do with any religion. And so I'm like, hey, this is just, the stool on which I stand that allows me to speak my truth. So when you come into my food church, there's a big sign that says nothing but the truth. And, so you can be immediately offended and turn around and leave if you want, but if you stay, I'm going to speak, and you may or may not like what I have to say. So.
Yep.
And as far as the event insurance goes, whenever we do events on the farm, all our farms have general liability for just generally doing business, because most of them were previously, or some of them might still be working with farmers markets, but most of them are now just, independently working off of their farm, doing farm sales, or here in the food church usually is because we're consuming everything they're producing. So, and so we don't get specific event insurance outside of that. When I'm doing things here, which I haven't started because we just moved like 10 times, and now I finally have a counter and I have some infrastructure. So now that I'll start doing things, I would like to do some smaller things, and most of the people that I'll have, I think right now, would be members. And I think that if I want to do stuff in the future, like bigger, I'll have to consider it. And that's where I would like to speak with
your friend Patricia.
Yeah, is her name Patricia? Okay, I need to write down.
Yeah.
Patricia,
Email us.
I need you to DM me or something.
Go to unloosthegoose.com and click on the contact form and fill it out, and we will send that to Neethi.
Please talk to me. I want to talk. I am all about arbitration and arbitrators.
Okay,
send me
guys.
Your email address. I'll send it to her.
So we did a show.
Oh, okay.
We did a show a while ago about mental health and taking care of your mental health. And I have an appointment with my psychologist tonight. I'm going to say that on the air so people know that I go to a psychologist. I'm going to go work through some stuff. I'm going to sign off right now, guys. Keep the questions coming. And Brian, you're in charge.
I got to remember to turn it off. Will do.
Yeah. If you
luck,
don't, you know, whatever. Guys, have a great night. See you next week.
Bye, Nicole.
All right.
All right. Where are we at?
Oh, geez. I don't know. I just did a giant bong rip. Sorry for your stuff today with that.
I'm just I'm in such shock because the child that passed fought for his life when he was born, and I thought everything was over and he was just winning, and apparently what he died of wasn't what he had a problem with when he was, because he had problems as a child, like as a baby.
Right.
And I'm just still I'm in shock with that, but
No, it's the thing you got to learn when you grow old. It's that's why I took a couple of days and ran down to Phoenix to go see my parents for Christmas, Thanksgiving, because they're getting old.
Oh, well, I mean, this child was 6 or 7.
But you
And
never know. That's the point.
I know.
Every day.
It was
Every day.
whatever would have happened that I thought was going to happen to him because of the problems as a baby. It had nothing to do with that.
No,
it was totally something else.
All right.
And I was
Let's
just
get back on something good.
I know. We need to get on something else. Okay. Are there more questions?
Are you expanding the network? Are more people opening up?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about what I am doing.
Food trucks. Are they is there going to be one in Seattle soon?
I'm not going to do it like a franchise. I'm doing it like an affiliation. And I just actually, in fact, had a board meeting on Monday, and we were going over the progress of where I'm at with everything. And one of my board members is an astute businessman who he's, much older than all of us. He's, owned and operated multiple multi-million-dollar businesses. And he's, he has experience with franchising and all of those things. And so he is not satisfied with where we're at with the business plan. And I'm more of I'm putting together all the sales training and, all the numbers that are required for the counter economic part, and also all the instructional stuff for dealing with the, all the regulatory agencies and then training the farms and all of that kind of thing. And so I've been so immersed in all of those things, I'll just tell you, writing a business plan, I kind of suck at that, which I was leaning on them to do that part, because that's what they do. That's his specialty. And so, yeah, he wants it to be cleaner. I can sell the business plan.
Yeah.
And the ROI and all of that. And I can explain it and I can show you how to make it work and, all the other part of it. But for someone to understand it, because I know what I'm doing, but I have a hard time teaching
organic.
How
it'll come when it should. Don't go.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it just basically pushed our launch time by like a month. So
right.
But I don't do anything half-assed. If it's not ready, I'm not going to do it until it's 100%, because we want everybody to win with this, and we want to make sure they're going to win. So it's gotta make it cleaner.
No, I started a new group on Telegram, El Salvador Coffee Farm Eco Village Project. If anybody wants to go check that out,
cool.
They've started drilling into the side of the volcano down there. They're going to be harnessing the free energy to mine the Bitcoin. The country's already converted. Currency is it's a multi-level plan. Coffee farms, well, if you go to the Telegram group, you can read what I wrote about coffee farms, but they're not profitable. They are right now. It's a blink in the time of history. They're not profitable. They are a way to acquire very large chunks of land in super desirable locations, like volcano sides next to the Pacific Ocean in the 82-degree perfect rainforest area, right? So you use the coffee farm to fund the land acquisition over time. It's a tax game. You don't want to make money. The Eco Village brings tourists who like Pacific Island beaches, big, huge fatties and swimming pools and stuff like that.
Yes.
And they bring money, lots of it, because international touring tourists, even though they want to have the eco experience, they might stay at the Marriott for a week and then come stay in the Eco Village for a week. to see, because they like to see actual things that aren't fake, right? So it's a real coffee farm doing a real thing, and probably a banana farm and probably an egg operation, all the permaculture crap that you would put into it, so that if the owners ever said, we need a place to bug, boom, no more tourists. They're now houses. So, you know, it's maybe a coffee farm. It's maybe a bug out plan. Maybe it's a tourist paradise.
We don't know.
Depends what it's needed for the taxes between the two countries and the Bitcoin to dollar arbitrage.
Wow.
So the real trick is 3 Bitcoin invested in El Salvador gives you a Salvadorian green card. Period.
What?
For life. Invested. Just put in their bank. Or in a coffee farm, eco village. So if you ever had to, say, maybe go somewhere, Australians, and you needed a place to land that you owned, maybe you would want to join me on the Telegram group. Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I hope everybody understood all that code.
El Salvador Coffee Farm Eco Village.
Eco Village.
Yeah. Or come out to the Squatch Fest in April and meet me in
do
person.
These conversations in person. That's what we're always encouraging everybody.
Always.
We're always encouraging all these in-person gatherings for all these hot topics. So.
Oh, Needy, there you go. Oh, here, let me put it up so you can read it. Here you go. Hold on. Read the screen here. Needy, can you tell us more about your
plans for next year with growing
plans
more
for
church? Oh. Well, I mean, basically,
so you said you're going to be slow launching. But what are you going to do next year?
What we're doing is I am actually going to have an affiliate program. I think people think that if they just start doing, I think what it is, Brian, is that I think people think that if they just start doing like a co-op or whatever, their own farmers market, they can just call it a food church. Well, that isn't what I'm doing. And so, I mean, you can call it that if you want to, but that isn't what I'm doing. What I'm doing is a counter-economic strategy that helps people get completely out of the grocery store. And it is ensuring that livestock producers are profitable. Because
are you going to go to some events next year and like explain the system, or how are you going to get the word out?
Yeah. Well, first I'm building it, and I'm not going to start going anywhere until I'm done. And like I was just saying, my board has to clear all the parts and pieces to make sure that I've, crossed all my T's and dotted all my I's, because it is actually, unlike a franchise, you still would buy into it like an affiliate program. Are y'all familiar with things like, if you guys understand like CrossFit, do you know anything about CrossFit gyms?
CrossFit gym, what you pay to get certified to be certified as a CrossFit gym?
I don't know if they call it certified. It's an affiliate program as well.
And you teach their program, right? Or you agree to
well, it's a method. It's a methodology. So CrossFit workouts, you have to follow the CrossFit methodology. And so if you want to call yourself a CrossFit box, you have to follow their methodology. Otherwise, you're not a CrossFit box. You could just say you have a gym and it's similar to CrossFit, but it's not CrossFit.
Right.
Because they've trademarked it. I've trademarked food church as well. And I hate trademarks, but dude, I just needed the website. So, it's like whatever I got to do to just have the, and anyway, if I wasn't going to trademark it, somebody was going to, so whatever. I needed it just because I want it there. I've written a standard. And so it is a methodology. It is a counter-economic strategy. And it works. And, so if you want to do it, then
so grow it next year, but you're going to get it right and then bring it out.
Yeah. So I was wanting to launch in January. And so I've been working really hard to get all my educational parts and pieces on the website, because you would take the online educational course And I mean, we're going to provide you with support and education because
Sweet.
as an affiliate, you need all of that, right?
Yep.
And so we're calling it Planting Food Churches. And we're going to be working with Grass Grays, who's going to plant farms right behind us, for anybody who needs farms and, needs them to be done to the standard. But we'll have solutions for everybody, including we're going to be bringing the food.
Oh, so you'll have a team that literally goes and takes a chunk of land and turns it into a farm?
If there's a food church, so let's just pretend, Brian, that you wanted to do the food church there, you wanted to become an affiliate, then you need the food. And you may or may not already know farmers that are doing stuff to standard, And so let's pretend you don't know any of that. We'll make sure that you're supplied so you can get started with your eaters. And then we'll help you. First of all, we want to try to see if there's farmers around that meet the standard that you might just not know. And if we can't figure that out, then, we'll make sure that, so Derek and Paige with Grass Grays want to plant farms. And if you start a food church there, they'll come right behind and plant a farm. And then maybe, what the idea is that somebody would want to buy their business that they've already set up. So that farm business is already profitable.
Right. Because starting a farm is different than running a farm.
Correct.
Building a thing is different than running a thing.
Correct.
Oh, yeah. That's beautiful. Wow. So at Jack's, there was 2 different groups of people that have got into land acquisition in-house.
Okay.
At very, very reduced rates. Right. But their particular idea, because they're traders, is swapping to make money. Right.
Right.
But now at Jack's, basically everybody was like, oh my gosh, I'm looking for a homestead in X spot. Can you help me? You figured out the system for land acquisition. Just apply the tool for my little project on the side. So now they've kind of, Wayne and his wife have kind of turned that into a business now.
Yeah.
And I'm forgetting her name, and it'll come to me.
It'll come to you. Yeah.
So
we have another question here.
This could be the deal, right? Where they find really cheap land that might be better as a farm than a homestead.
Yes.
But near the network. And now you've got someone who can grow farms. If they could get land at the right price, it would be easier.
Right. Correct.
So I think the network growing out. Okay. And then there's a certain, does it need to be does your food church need to be brick and mortar, or can it be virtual?
It will not be virtual.
Because you need freezer space and
it's very physical. It's very, very physical and heavy. And lots of dead bodies are involved. Lots of dead bodies.
Yeah, until you run a retail operation, it's really hard to imagine the throughput through a store, right? Because you visit the store and you see the stuff, but you don't realize that's only like.
Is this my delay or your delay?
New every 2 days.
Yeah, right. It's very physical, and so we would talk all that stuff out with everybody on a case by case basis as to what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. For example, we have somebody who wants to do this, and we've have people who are in line to roll out some food churches. So, all of them have specific situations already going. And so it'll be really nice, once I have all my ducks in a row and I do the big launch, then we will give you guys a lot of information, including you'll have a place where you can go where you can see examples of what's been done so that maybe you would want to also do that.
Let's see. They asked if an acre of land would be enough for a brick and mortar. I would think so, wouldn't you?
Yes. It's more than enough. It's not about the acreage of land as much as it is, you basically want to have at least 2,000 square feet.
Right.
So, and I mean, I guess somebody could put it on wheels, but you want it to be somewhere central.
Yeah, you could containerize it.
Yeah, you could containerize it. I just think that once you get into it the way that I am, and you want it to be very profitable, which I'm sure that you do, then you will not be able to keep it on wheels for very long.
Yeah, it would. How could you? You could do 3 40-foot cans, right? And turn one into an actual freezer or freezer
I mean,
with
they
a
need
half
to be
freezer, half
freezer.
fridge.
Yeah. Yeah. You need at least 2 large freezers. I mean, we'll tell you, but we would teach you how to grow it organically. But I mean, if you're just trying to prep up for it, and you have like 3 40-foot containers, you have a good head start. Let's say that.
Right. Yeah. How can you? You can always find a way. Yeah. Once you find the model, then you got to adapt to it.
Yes.
It's great.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'll be able to help them. I can help you adapt. I can help.
Yeah. You built it. Let's see. What else? What else do I want to ask you? Good COVID stuff. Yeah. You got anything else?
Well, I don't know. I mean, all I can say is that, as far as the food church goes, for everybody out there who's interested, like, we're going to be bringing solutions and product. So you will have a solution until
Did you hear Jack's podcast yesterday?
I didn't.
His like get off the couch and get some shit done podcast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. If it is,
I can get down with that. I'm like, yeah, get up and do something, y'all. Get up and do anything.
It was the same exact rant of near episode 28 when I made my decision to quit my corporate job and go help people. It was, he said the exact same words, a little different spin. Like, don't be afraid of your dream.
Yeah.
Whatever. If it's down a path other people don't want, F them. If it's your thing, go do it. Go do it.
That's when you got to do it, Brian. When it's down that path that nobody wants you to do or whatever, that means do it. Run.
And he tied in federations and like everything. It was it was brilliant. It was a brilliant podcast. So anyway, check out yesterday.
I'll have to check it out. I've been saying that to people right now. I'm like, you know what? Don't be afraid of everything. To me, I think this is the best of times. It's the best time to go try to do anything. But, like, everybody wants to just buy land, buy some infrastructure too. I'm like,
so the solstice is December 21st, 7:59 Pacific time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the time to turn on some chill music and get how you want and sit and think and make your plan for next year. Set your intent.
I tell everybody, Brian, that they should try to go 24 hours every day between now and the solstice and try to not worry about anything for that 24 hours. Like, you need to just be as happy as you can be, like a 5-year-old, like when you were 5. Can you be like you were when you were 5 for 24 hours? Can you do it? Like, that should be a challenge for you to try to just be as happy as you were when you were 5 and not allow yourself to be worried about literally anything. And then, like Brian said, on the 21st, get cozy and then sit down. It might be good to have some pen and paper around. And like, that's, what I like to do then, Brian? I like to sit outside where it's cold and stare into a fire.
Yes.
And it feels like you just daydream up amazing, like the most amazing plans. And right? I mean, I'm wrong about that. Like, all of a sudden,
almost like the energy of the universe is just like there that day for that purpose. Right?
Yeah.
Like, everybody's marked that day forever. Every calendar, every society.
Yeah.
Sit down and plan. Set your intent. Well, if you think about it, the old stories of like Jericho, the walls coming down, right? They didn't go at them with freaking sledgehammers. They made a resonant tone.
Yes.
That vibrated the bricks into oblivion. Literally.
Yeah.
Not metaphorically.
It was a steady, beautiful tone that was just like a humming.
And it was multiple tones because it was the marching and it was the horn. Mm-hmm. It's all the bass. It's the chakra tones. If everybody sits down on the 21st and thinks of nothing but pure love, like Needy was saying, the resonant frequency through the earth will be insane. The people running the freaking game will not be able to stand it. Take the day off.
If you
tell
can
them
watch
you're not
this,
coming in.
yeah.
And sit down and chill. Just say.
If you can do a sunrise walk that morning, and then spend the day like preparing for your relaxation in front of the fire that evening, and then you sit there with your amazing meal or whatever and your notebook, and you just stare into the fire, amazing things will happen.
Yep. I will not be on social media. I will not be buying crap. I'm not leaving. Not going anywhere. So anyway, let's commercially zoned land. Food church. Does it have to be commercially zoned land?
Well, that depends on your area. So what I'll say about that is, if you have a really good location that you feel people are willing to centrally arrive at, and you won't like have to deal with, it's close enough to town and far enough from town.
Do you have to be zoned a church?
No. I mean, I can do a sermon on a mountain if I want to.
Yeah. I'm like,
So my church is wherever I am.
Yeah, exactly. I was zoning.
So
my
church is wherever I am. It's more about it's more about what I'm saying. You know what I mean? It's more about the talking. Exactly. So, and as far as the land title thing I was saying was that if you own land and you can own the title and have a copy of the title, not the deed, there's a difference. When you have a deed, then it is still owned. I mean, you still pay taxes on it, right? So what you want is you want to see if you can get the title. And if you have the title, then you're actually sovereign, that land. Does it need to be for the food church? No. If you're trying to do that, then it would be great if you have that. If you have it, then it's wonderful. If I was waiting for that, I would never get up and do anything. I would never. Yeah. If I waited to own land, Joel Salatin and John Bush had Joel also do like an exit and build strategy and talk. They've like Jack and John and all these guys are talking about how to get out and get this land. As far as I'm concerned, you don't even have to own the land. You just need to be working with some good land owners that are interested in what you're doing. So
that's funny. Okay, what do you put in your coffee? Needy, you go first.
Okay, I like to blend raw cream and butter in my coffee.
Ooh.
What do you like, Ryan?
Me, nothing.
Nothing.
I want to taste what the farmer intended me to taste. And then my job as a roaster is to do almost nothing to get in the way of that. That's why I tend to roast a little bit lighter at every level. I feel my job as a roaster is to represent the farmer's intent. So, yeah, it's a Zen thing. Hey, I did want to mention this because I thought of it last night, but I totally spaced it. Okay, so right on the side here, Coffee Club, blah, blah, wherever that is. Candace and I have decided we are going to cut off membership way sooner than later. All the people that had gotten in before November were in at one rate. They're already 25% of the market has doubled.
Wow.
Everybody that was in already is price protected for another year because I price protected their beans for them because they're club members.
Nice.
So now anyone else who wants to get in sooner than later. It's at a new higher level, but it's still ridiculously cheap. So the other thing is, when we shut it off, I will only ever deal with those clients. I'll make the whole coffee site go dark. It will not exist except for my club members. So at that point, the people that were in originally at the lower prices have, if they don't want their coffee, they don't ever have to quit. It's now basically an NFT. It's tradable. I'm only going to have X number of chips on the table. If they decide they don't want it anymore, they are, position number 1 or 2. They can put that up on the market. They can trade it, whatever. I don't care who holds it. And all my coffee club members have a right to buy as much more coffee as they want every month. So as things are going a little crazy and you can't find any really good coffee at decent prices that's hand roasted, once I close the door and my website doesn't have coffee for sale anymore, if you talk to one of my club members, they can order it for you, because I am just not going to deal with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. I'm going to deal with my small tribe. That's going to be my little coffee business. That's not going to get out of control, because I'm going to have balance this year.
Can you talk about Happy Hobbit is asking that, he was saying that Jack was talking about NFTs. Could you do it with a coffee eco village?
The coffee eco village thing in El Salvador is going to be that. Jake already wants to go buy an existing coffee farm because you can NFT the trees. Right. Just like Jack's example was grapevines. Coffee trees, same way. A coffee tree has a life expectancy from the day it produces a bean to dead is about 15 years. You get about 5 pounds a tree if you do it perfectly. 5 times 15 is what, 75? So you get 75 pounds at the best market in world history. So you got about $150 inbound on the tree in the next 15 years. And then you do net present value calculation with whatever crazy interest rate you want to put on that, I guess. But is it worth selling NFT for one tree? Probably not. But yes, the whole concept of the NFT thing, but there's a long way to go before it goes to that. That would be like the Bitcoin investor group that put all the money in the El Salvadorian bank, found the land, bought the shit, started putting in like the nursery and operations, and now we need money to buy hard supplies like rebar and concrete to build the eco village, right? Then you would NFT the trees that already exist because they're now in the ground. You have something to sell against to raise funds to do the eco village. So yes, NFTs could fund the eco village for sure. So yeah. So it's a new world, right? If you can't just go to Walmart to get all your stuff, or the grocery store, because you're not going to be compliant, you might need to know people in a food network, and the door might be closing sooner than you think.
Yeah.
So if you're, so Patricia that helps me with Squatch Fest.
Yes.
She's from like a musical family, right? So I'm kind of in the music scene. Everybody couldn't work. They're starving to death. They're on the government tit, right? Screaming that if only there was a venue to play at, if only. So I built one.
Yeah.
I've got a stage. Nobody signed up to play in the fall. Guess how many rock and roll bands I have to play in the spring?
Really?
Yep. All the rock and rollers, punk, hard ass, blah, 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 blah.
Why?
The government's holding me back. The government's not letting me play. F that.
Wow.
They all are non-player characters. They've been told to be compliant and don't go out and entertain humans, so they're not. So I am looking for a band with a big set, and I hope that's a couple of ladies that play bass and drums and rock. So I built a stage in the woods. It's kind of, you're going to play.
They just said they're not going to come, Brian. I'm confused.
Yeah, we don't have a main act. I've got DJs that want to play because they're from the hood and they want to play. And I built a stage and they will come use it.
Yeah.
And I got a blues musician, got a couple albums out. He's going to come play. But shit, I want to rock Red Hot Chili Peppers. Let's go. We want to dance in a field under the moonlight. So I built it.
You know,
I'm throwing the challenge out. This is going nationwide. Anyone know a band that wants to roll? We are going to go for 3 days straight, and you're going to be the headliner. So
I'll tell my cousin.
Food Forest Farm.
I have a cousin.
Every phone number on that website goes to me. Call. I will answer the phone.
I have a cousin who's a musician in Nashville, and I will let him know right now.
Yeah. I've ever like. People don't want to be perceived as like playing in the plague, right? Because you would be killing people or some shit.
Really?
I don't know.
I'm like, do you want money? Do you want to? Do you want people to know you?
No idea. So I hear about all these guys that are getting held back and not being able to do their thing. But you know what? We'll see. So I love the put up or shut up, right? So. Yeah. I go in the freedom cells for the Pacific Northwest all the time, right? Because we're all talking about like, we should have our own food. We should be self-sufficient. So I was getting rid of 40 large Muscovy ducks. Guess how many takers for the entire Pacific Northwest region decided they would want food security in their backyard?
How many?
Oh, what? One lucky person. Got all my ducks for a stupid price. So
that is so crazy.
But it's keyboard warriorism at its finest. And I've just had enough of it. It's just blah, 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 talk. So anyway,
they don't
really all the
do it. They don't want to do anything.
Yeah. It's like, tell me what you've done. I'm like, okay, you said you want food security. Here's the meat. Birds.
Yeah, come get it.
Raise themselves. Like, just throw shit out in the backyard. They'll take care of themselves. Like, nobody. So I don't know. It's like the lady in Australia, like, why does it keep getting worse? Because nobody will put down their game controller or their TV remote and get up and do something. So
everybody's waiting for somebody to save them, I guess.
Or like for someone to say, go. Now's the time.
They're seeking permission or something, and it's really awful. But the training is powerful.
Oh, it's insane. Yeah,
they're super comfortable. People are super
comfort, right?
They're just super cozy.
Cold comfort over pain. Pink Floyd said it best. Like pain's an illusion too. It's all Yeah.
I mean, everybody thinks they want to do this food church thing. I want to see what happens when we get it. When we go online, it'll be really interesting to see what happens because, this is work.
Right. Yeah. Are you dedicated?
Are you even ready?
Happy Hobbit said they believe the lie. Complacency. Yeah. It's so much easier to just go get back in the warm, mushy pod. They're making those Oculus goggle thingies or whatever the hell that next level crap is. Just, hopium and addiction.
You know what it is they, the brainwashing is real. And then people don't understand the brainwashing. And I was talking to a member this week and I said, do you understand? Do you ever feel that someone says something and it triggers you? And she was like, yeah, man, I know. I said, okay, so then you admit it. She says, what? I said, if you understand that you are triggered, then that means you've been brainwashed. And the reason that we know this is because it's Psychology 101. When you brainwash people, there are trigger words involved to brainwash them. And, when I realize this for myself, now when people trigger me, I'm just like, oh, I choose not to allow this to bother me. It is my work that every time somebody says something that triggers me to realize, they triggered me and I am 5 and I am going to be happy and have fun. And this is not going to bother me.
So dialectical dualism, it's the bane of existence. A thing is a thing until you name it. It is just the thing, but really is nothing because you're only seeing the surface because really, 100th of it is matter. But anyway, once you control the language and make people name it, anything, it is not everything else. It's different and separate from. It's the sword. the cleaver. It's all separation. It's
Yes.
and not being able with all this woke crap and not being able to name a thing properly.
That's called linguistics theft, Brian. What they've done is this thing is called linguistics theft. These are the same
theft. Yes.
These are those people that what they did is like, it's a bad word to say discrimination. So if you're a discriminating person, that's a trigger for most people. That means that if I say I'm a discriminating person, then, because I discriminate. Okay, guys, I discriminate. I discriminate because I know what I want and I know what I don't want. I know what I want and I know why I want it. I know what I don't want and I know why I don't want it. That's called being discriminating. That's me. I'm discriminating. And so you should be too. If you want to be powerful and you want to walk in truth and you want to be a creator, then you have to know what you want and you have to know why you want it. You have to know what you want and you have to know why you want it. Are you going to walk in the direction of that or are you going to walk away from that? You have to know. And that means that requires discrimination. And so, and they don't want to have that power.
If you don't name a thing properly, you're dealing with just illusion all the time. You build stuff that can't be built on architecturally. It has to dissolve. That's money that's not money, security that's not security, like law that's not law.
Right.
Like
safety.
Constitution.
They're making you think that other people's safety is your security or other people's safety is your responsibility or whatever. It's
or like,
it's all convoluted. It's convoluted. And they do it with this linguistics theft. So did you know, Brian, that these days they don't want you to call pedophiles pedophiles? Isn't that interesting? They want you to call pedophiles something else and not pedophiles.
Dead? Oh.
I mean, you know why, Brian? Because it's just that word, it's kind of not inclusive, they say. They say it's not really inclusive. And so, we should probably call them something else. And so I'm like, hell to the no. You need to call them a pedophile. And it's not inclusive because we don't want to include them. They should
But I think it's like you have to be willing to like use the true words in everywhere. Like not pick a place. Like doesn't matter if you're like in the middle of Sunday school, if somebody asks you to use some fucking crazy word. No, use the right word. Say the thing that you see. I see this. This is the thing I see.
Words matter.
It is what it is, right?
Words matter. And so linguistic theft is a thing and it's ruining, that's what's going on right now.
And if people around you require you to live in illusion so that they can be okay, it's time that you get comfortable with letting them be not okay.
Yes. It's time to let them go. Let it go. It is.
Yeah. Pain is a motivator, right?
Yes.
If everybody keeps making everybody feel good, when the situation is fucked up, it doesn't help. It does not help. You are not helping an addict when you
enable them.
You're not helping them when you let them sleep in your car, right? Real pain moves people. So that's what I found in my life anyway. When I have gotten to a point where I'm big things happen because I've allowed.
That's why we like that.
Sorry, my parents.
That's why they used to say
they let me do shit, right? But they let me do it all the way. Like they did not get in the way.
Yeah. No, you got to light a fire up under people.
Yeah, and corrections that are real correct you like much quicker because you actually splat, right? And then you get to realize gravity is always real forever.
Yep.
Oh, let's see. Here. Why don't use here, hold on, I'm gonna throw it on the screen. Why don't the
Okay.
Agorists use open Minzar? Telegram sucks, blah, blah, decentralized. I have no idea what that is.
I don't think that's a question. I think we've kind of come up to our time, and I feel like,
Let's
we've
roll
talked
out.
about so many cool things. Like,
So much stuff. Okay, wrap it up. Then I'll 30-second wrap it. Then I'll end the broadcast.
okay, cool. Well, you guys, follow me on farm2forkmeatriot.org. That I will be moving that over to the new platform that I'm building. So that's a great place to follow me. There's a tab on there for the food church. If you are interested in that, click on it and sign up for the newsletter so you can stay abreast of the situation and knowing what's going on and be the first to be notified about it. And I'm like not doing a great job with my communication on there as I should be because I'm building. So please give me grace. But otherwise, just follow me over there at farm2forkmeatriot.org.
Okay, let's see. Food Forest Farms, Coffee Club, thesquatchfest.com, cannabinoid natural foods. Anyway, all the contact me on any of that crap ends up at me. I am a one-man show. So hook up with me. I'm at scrambling without a G, because I have a wicked one iron, on all social platforms. Just figured out how to multi-stream. So I threw a 3.5-hour coffee video fish show up yesterday.
Nice.
So go check it out. Click, say hi. All right, I'm out next week. They are going to talk about, go do homework. The Lots Project, interconnected landowners and travelers and doers helping each other. So go check out their thing before next week's episode. It'll make a whole lot more sense. All right, bye, Needy.
Bye, Brian. Bye, everybody.
And an awesome solstice. Bye.
Yes.
Let's see. Oh.